Do not attempt to adjust your podcast player. We are controlling the transmission. We are here to be your guide, helping you to explore local events, the art scene, music, theater, sports, and possibly a conspiracy or two. All here on the GCRX Radio and Podcast Network.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to In the Metro, live from Studio B. I'm Chuck, your host, and with me is Kim Pearson, as always.
Hello, hello.
And we also have with us tonight Taylor Kovach joining us.
Hi.
Big news this weekend, huh?
Yeah, and Engineer Bill and Rebecca's in the room.
Engineer Bill and Miss Rebecca. Everyone's
yeah,
here.
let's get right into
The whole family.
the Granite City Monopoly. Let's just hook right on into it.
You're going to break tradition? No one cares what you did this
Yeah,
week?
no, listen, I've spent a lot of time at the hospital. I got nothing to say about this whole week.
Not you in the hospital, thankfully.
Yeah, no, not me.
Oh, you were there. You just weren't.
She was in the
there.
hospital.
You were
Loved
in the
it.
hospital.
Not
Yeah, I
admitted.
guess you're right.
Yeah, and VA hospital, it was very good, by the way. No,
Wow,
no,
that's
no
impressive.
complaints whatsoever.
Nice.
What did you do this weekend, Chuck?
What did we do? What didn't we do this weekend? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just kidding. It was a fun weekend. We
What'd you do?
had a pretty good time. See, Saturday, what did we do? We just kind of hung out, didn't we?
Around the house.
Yeah, I got some things
We did
done.
the table for
That's
your
right.
Project.
Yep, I worked on Miss Rebecca has a table that we're trying to get taken care of. This table's turned into a project. I'm not complaining, but it's
Why
one
don't
of
you
those
put it
things
all on
where
the table? I couldn't. I had to.
it's one of those things where you just go to sand it down and it's got this nice wood finish and everything. And then we just get a part where you sand down just a little too much. And I mean just a little too much. And you find out that it's press board under it.
Oh,
So now you can't just stand it like the original plan was. Now you've got to like redo the entire tabletop, right?
Mhm.
So I went and got some shiplap, something to give it that wood look, everything, put it on there and sanding it down. And, of course, when you buy really thin materials, sometimes it's, broke or something like that. And you got to kind of, work some things together. But I mean, it's a project that I'm happy to be doing. I think I'll be done with it this coming weekend. So I'm pretty excited
cool.
about that. And then, of course, Palm Sunday, Bill, does your church, do you guys do the actual palms on Palm Sunday?
No.
No?
Of course.
Well, you're Catholic. So, yeah, you guys are going to do the whole
And we don't mind loaning
whole
that
parade.
to use.
Yeah, well, thank you. We
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that. Taylor, you go to church?
Yes, I.
Does your Sunday do that? Does your
No,
church
I
do
go
that?
to Restoration.
Oh, restoration. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool.
Do you have Easter plans? Well, you have a little one, so I know you do, and
Yes.
you have little ones too.
I do.
So what's the tradition? What are you guys gonna do?
Do a little Easter egg hunt at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and go to church.
So, yep. That's
we
Easter.
always dye Easter eggs. That's really. I've never been big about Easter baskets for the kids. My parents always got them Easter baskets, but Easter has always been a bigger religious celebration for me than Christmas has.
Okay.
Christmas is, celebrating the birth of Jesus, but I think that the resurrection is so much bigger on a religious standpoint. So I try to keep Jesus the center of this holiday, at least.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. I have to mention also, Lisa, even though I can't see your name on here, I know exactly who it was that called me out on it. Saturday, my friend had his 50th birthday party, Danny. So big shout out to Danny. Happy birthday. Today is his actual birthday. So we did do that on Saturday also.
So you're in the 50 club?
I am in the 50 club.
Wow. Okay, that's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Doesn't only last a decade. It's all downhill after that. But
No,
I'm in there with you.
it's been downhill since 35. Let's not lie about this.
There's a song, so in the 30s when you start to die. I really feel that that's true. Everything starts to hurt and fall
Right.
apart. And
Right.
yeah,
So, but yep. And I rang in my 50th birthday like awesomely thanks to Miss Rebecca over here.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
So she had a party for me or a little dinner for me at a
Little dinner with your small group of friends.
yeah my group of friends, and that was at a little spaghetti factory. I love to eat there, and plus the Debbie Gibson thing. Let's not forget the Debbie Gibson
okay,
thing.
I do remember
Yeah.
the spaghetti factory. I have yet to be there.
What?
I know there's so
Really?
many
Get outta
iconic things.
here.
I've never been there.
Downtown St. Louis.
Where have you been?
I just never there.
Apparently
Oh my
everywhere
gosh.
but Spaghetti Factory.
Listen, there's a lot of things I haven't. Like the Roadhouse, the new movie Roadhouse.
Ah,
We saw it the other night. I have not seen the original. So
Oh,
for
wow.
me, this was a good movie. But I'm finding out like I'm the minority of that.
Yeah,
I think we need to do an in the metro on location now. And go to the Spaghetti Factory.
I think so.
Yeah.
That'd be
Like,
awesome.
That sounds fun.
And I'm almost scared to go to the Spaghetti Factory.
Why?
Because in my mind, I have pictured it to be just this huge thing.
It's-
Like, is it like a spaghetti buffet?
No,
See, I'm already disappointed.
it's so good though, and you can get. Me and my boyfriend went out to eat at the Spaghetti Factory, and you get everything. You get your entree, you get your ice cream, you get dessert afterwards. Like that's all included in
And
the
the
meal.
ice cream is a special kind of ice cream, right?
Yeah,
Spumoni.
Spumoni, yeah.
Spumoni.
It's good stuff.
Mhm.
Okay, I thought it was pistachio.
No.
So
No.
I'm a little excited now.
I think at one time you could get pistachio. Is it one of the flavors? Okay.
And cherry and then vanilla.
Yeah, you can.
Okay,
It's
yeah, I
freaking
need
good.
to go.
It's freaking good.
Okay.
Worth it.
I'm with
Is
you.
there a lot of kids there?
Mm,
Is this
There's a
kid
lot
thing?
of people there in
it's
general.
people. Yeah.
It's definitely family friendly.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait. The person with the daycare doesn't like. Are there kids
Not on
there?
my day off.
Oh.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, at 5 o'clock, 5:30 to latest, it is a kid-free life.
She's like
for kids.
kicking them out the door. Drop kicking them out the
Goodbye,
door.
grandchildren.
Bye-bye.
Go.
All right, awesome. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about we can talk about
Monopoly.
our version of the Monopoly game here in Granite City, which is kind of cool, and then we'll move on to some other things. Which we've got a lot of viewers tonight, so
Do we?
We
Oh
have more
my
than we typically
gosh.
have in a live.
Wow.
So
That's awesome.
We're
I'm
going to talk
excited about
about
this.
that.
yeah,
But
which
in the meantime, let's talk about the Granite City Monopoly. First of all, we're going to throw this over to Taylor, and she's going to give us a little bit of history of how this Monopoly game came about and who has input on it.
So yeah, of course I saw all the million Facebook posts that it was at Walmart, and whenever people started posting pictures of it, I got really curious because of some of the things that were on the board. I was like, how did they know to put this stuff on this board? Like some of the things were just so, like off for somebody that doesn't live in Granite to know to put that on a Monopoly board. So I'm like, okay, I saw the maker, the name of the maker on the board, and I Googled the maker. I went to their website. I couldn't really find a whole lot on the website, but I did find a couple interviews that one of the guys the company has working for them, he had said that they do 100% their own research. So they Google the city that they're looking at, and whatever comes up on Google, whether it's a Facebook group, so they could have been in the 62440 page looking for,
Yes.
with all the posts that we have with what's your favorite restaurant in Granite City, and it's just 200-300 comments of people going back and forth. I love this place, I love that place.
Yeah.
And then you have pictures, of course, posted online. Whenever you look up Granite City, Horseshoe Lake State Park is going to pop up. Facebook around homecoming time. Homecoming is a huge event in Granite City, so it's just one of those things where it's like they go through this long, extensive process to put together this board. And I'm sure it takes, a year or two, if not longer. I don't know. I didn't look into that, but the boards are exclusive to Walmart and Walgreens, which I thought was also pretty cool. And also kind of sucks at the same time because the boards are so limited, and these sold out so fast that some people didn't get a
within a
chance to
day.
get one.
Yeah.
oh yeah, Granite City.
I
went
mean,
nuts over this.
Yeah. I mean, it's iconic. Brenda's got the old board, hanging up in the diner
Mhm.
for people to look at. And how long ago was that board made?
I think
was-
it was in the 80s.
Yeah, I know it was at least 20 years ago
Yeah.
because I remember, being in high school and seeing it around, and it had been around for a while there with local businesses and things like that. So yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's awesome because now Like, I want to sit down with my kids and I want to play Monopoly, and I want to see their faces light up whenever they're like, "Oh, how cool. I get to own Granite City High School." You know,
The
like,
Kevin Greenfield.
yeah,
They really
like,
did research.
they did.
Did they hit all the right spots? It depends if you own that spot.
Well, and again, you know, we don't know their timeline on when they started this research.
Right.
So if it started, you know, with the 10-person swing being on there, I saw a couple complaints about that because it's like, we don't even have that anymore. And it's like, no, but it was still, you know, a staple here for a while in Granite. So it's still really cool that it made it on the board.
Coming back. I am not 100% sure on this next statement, but I'm sure enough to go ahead and say it. I had talked to one of the artists on State Street maybe 2 summers ago, and he was out in the garden area of the 10-person swing, and there are a lot of pictures of people, you know, homecoming, for
I've done
example.
photo shoots over there.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I have a picture of my kids on it.
And it was in kind of it needed repairing then.
Yeah.
And I almost am positive that he told me that the person that was working on it had a unexpected massive heart attack and did not survive that. And out of all the projects that they have over there, that was not the project they were working on.
Right.
They hope to get to it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I think it probably got just minimized and made just one swing. But I do know that the Arts and Entertainment Director Brenda has talked to them, and they are aware of the Monopoly game and all of the sudden interest, and they are going to make it a priority.
That's awesome.
So when, I don't know.
Nice.
When this game hit Wood River and it was on Facebook, I was so excited for Wood River. I was just like, but, you know, how cool is that, right? And I guess I didn't give it a lot of thought that somebody from Wood River doing it. And then I saw the Collinsville one hit.
Mm-hmm.
Then it started to make sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Granite's not going to get one. I didn't even give it another thought. And then boom, when Granite got it, it was such a positive, happy thing. People rushed out there. But I guess with every high, there's going to be a low.
Yeah.
And with every, you know, everything, it works out that way. And there's going to be disappointment. So there's a lot of spots on there that didn't make sense to everyone. And then there's a lot of spots on there that makes perfect sense. There was so much negative Facebook post made about this game that it was just almost embarrassing. It was embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
I started to do, you and I started talking in Messenger about the situation. And I too started doing some research and looking at phone numbers. And I made a lot of calls on Saturday because the main question that was out there was, who had the input? Who gave them these names and who left what names out?
Right.
And I had owners of businesses messaging me, calling me. They have my personal number. And I didn't have any answers for them except there was no input from the city, at least none that I was aware of.
Which that's not a bad thing.
It was the perfect thing.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing.
And I want to equate it like this. The more I thought about it, well, to go a little bit further, I continued Googling and I found names. And I took those names and I looked them up on Facebook and I looked them up through Google. And I had a phone number of a very nice gentleman named Paul. I won't say his last name. He is very much involved in the Opolis. And seriously, he answered his phone on a Saturday afternoon. I think he was just as shocked that he answered it as I was.
He's probably been very busy after all these games that are coming out.
He was very receptive to talk. Not necessarily. I believe the game was manufactured in Ohio,
Cincinnati, Ohio, I believe.
but that's not necessarily where all of the creators are at.
Yeah,
a lot of remote work was done on this. He explained a few things. One of the things he explained was that how they decided who was getting the monopolies was they took Walmart's because Walmart was already their distributor. They had their distributor lined up. And they took the zip codes.
Mhm.
And so your Walmart had to be in your city for you to qualify to even be on the map. And what they started looking for was clusters of cities, medium sized cities, not necessarily rural, not necessarily metropolitan,
Mhm.
just medium sized cities where there was clusters, because where there's clusters, there's rivalry, the good kind, from high schools. And all of us can relate to football rivalries. That's life. That's
Mhm.
explains 3 of the spots on there.
Mhm.
And they had great marketing on that. They knew for our little area that if Wood River was going to get it, the Oilers, then the K-Hawks were definitely going to get it, you
Right.
know, and then the Warriors. But what made us a little different than maybe some of the other cities around us is that when they Googled R62040 Walmart, it came up Granite City. But we're kind of unique geographically
Mhm.
because R62040, it is Granite City, and that's throughout the postal system. But
Yep.
it also encompasses Mitchell, Pontoon Beach, Shoto Island, Namioki Township, Arlington Heights. It's spread big. So there explains your Chain of Rocks, explains the Terry's Diner, explains the Lenny's. There's not a single one on there that I would want removed
Right.
as far as where it's located.
Mhm.
So when I found out that that's how they did things, and that made sense. He said there would be a second run on areas that sold out the quickest. So that
Well, that qualifies us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would think
right,
so.
yeah, exactly. He didn't say what time of the year, but he alluded that it would be towards the end and maybe
Around Christmas time.
without saying Christmas time. He also mentioned that there was 2 distributors, Walgreens and Walmart. Well,
Mhm.
I don't believe any of our Walgreens had them. This is speculation on my part, and he did not confirm or deny. I think we might see the second run in our Walgreens,
Mhm.
and that'll be fine. Now, will it be the same board? That was something else he did not confirm or deny. They may have backups. Who knows? I don't know. But even if it's the exact same board, I'm fine with that. There's a lot of people that missed out on getting one.
Yeah.
Taylor is one of them. She just didn't make it in time. There was then those people that went out and bought multiples.
Yeah.
And I seen those people with their carts full of them. I'm like,
Who
stop
were
looking
those
at my
people?
cart.
Who
Right?
were those people, huh? Who wouldn't happen to know any of those people? Now would we?
I don't know.
Some
but
of those-
I know that all
Some
of
of those people did some good things with them though and didn't hoard them for themselves.
that's
all right.
a fact.
Yeah.
Yes. I thought of our firemen immediately. They're the firehouse. You know, I didn't take them to the police department. And the only reason I didn't immediately think police department is because they're so mobile. They're always moving. They're not sitting and playing anything.
Yeah.
But our firefighters, they're there for, and I should know this, but I don't. They're there for hours at a time, days at a time, whatever their rotation may be.
Right.
And it was kind of a neat thing to see them in their own environment. I've never actually been inside the fire department. Their families are there. They're eating
You just wanted
dinner.
to hang around all those firemen.
Well, the ones I'd
You're
want to
not
hang.
stupid.
No, Chuck. Now you know the only fireman I'd want to hang out with is already retired.
All right.
It isn't none of those young bucks over there
All
right
right.
now.
We'll,
Them
we'll,
be my sons.
we'll give you
No.
that one.
Okay, thank you.
So, I was thinking also you were talking about the marketing aspect of this
Yeah.
earlier. I think it was a great idea for them also. My mind's always thinking towards the capitalist point of view on this, right? But, you're talking about the rivalries. I think that's a good point. I also think one of the things to keep in mind is, in not focusing on the larger cities, they may sell, quite a bit or whatever. But if you think about who's more apt to buy it, it's small to midtown size America. Great idea because we sold out. And where do we sell out? 24 hours, 19 hours? Your local Walmart. It's where pretty much everybody shops. So just even including that demographic, I think was a great idea for them to do, on top of, the localism of the game and the local establishments and things like that. So I think that that's awesome. And then what did you do? You went and gave them to people who serve and support the community,
Right.
which is even better,
Right.
So
That was something that my co-alderman and I decided to do. We thought it would just be a nice gesture.
Yeah.
Whether they play it or they just sit it out or whatever, that the intent was there. And anything that gets people to put their phones down
Yeah.
and to engage is a good thing.
Well, and
Yeah.
I, for one, think that it's really refreshing, the approach that they take to listing businesses on there, because they could very well go to a city and be like, well, hey, who do you want to be on there? And I think that would be kind of a biased view. But there's a lot of other organizations that take that approach too. You don't see the St. Louis Post-Dispatch being governed by the city as to what they can put in their newspaper just because it says St. Louis in it.
Right.
That news and media organizations, whether paid or unpaid, have to print what is legitimate. So this is another example of that. And I think a lot of the negativity that I saw was like, oh, well, why was this business on there? Well, number one, there's not enough room for every business on there. It'd be cool if there was, but there isn't. Number two, they went and did their own research and got their own opinion, which ironically would be the opinion of an outside person looking to move to the town as well.
Right.
If they're looking this stuff up, they're seeing these diners and the swing and all the stuff that they're seeing here. So those are positive things for the
Right.
community. It's actually a great representation that those were on there. So
I
It is.
agree 100%. I love the park being
Mhm.
on there.
Yep.
I love the Monopoly aspect of, Monopoly is usually 3. Yes, there's a couple on there that's just the 2 properties, but in your mind, you immediately think 3 for Monopoly.
Mhm.
And I am so thrilled that the city didn't have a say so.
Yep.
It
Me too.
it wouldn't even make sense. Even had it been something such as this, even if the city did have input, which they did not, and he left it up to, our mayor would have left it up to, say, the alderman, hey, you got a monopoly here.
Yeah.
Pick 3 places in your ward, and you do this, and you do this in your ward, and you do it in your ward, and then that's going to cover the board.
Yeah.
I played that scenario out in my mind, and immediately I had my 3 places that would be in my ward. I have a lot of places in my ward.
Right.
It's the retail place. It's Madison Avenue. And although I would have been happy with the 3 that I would have chose, I immediately could hear the backlash of the other 37 that I didn't. And how the mayor would have got that tenfold. He would have got all of that complaint. Well, he got all that complaint anyway because of negative and never being happy enough kind of situation. And that's going to be the second half of our show, is we're going to talk about that. But this particular board, I think this is the other thing that's kind of important about this Monopoly game that he told me, was that the same game pieces that are in here don't really make sense for me. If it was custom to Granite City, the pretzel, for example.
Yeah.
But every game has the same pieces.
Every game.
And the pretzel is iconic of Chicago pretzel vendors.
Almost like an Illinois thing.
And New York.
Yeah.
Pretzel vendors.
Yeah.
So that was something that he said, you just have to be happy that you had this, but know that we had this to pick it from.
Well, and yeah, that's kind of my thought process. There's a lot of I don't see one bad thing on that board. And so if you had a team of people, even if you had 1 or 2 people, maybe he's embellishing a little bit, nobody knows.
Right.
If you had 1 or 2 people Googling, like, what's Granite City about? And these are the positive things that you brought up.
Yeah.
We're winning. That's amazing. Like,
exactly.
Because you had a list, obviously, of too many things and you had to leave some of them out. So, I mean, they very well could have Googled and been like, wow, we've got slim pickings here, guys.
Exactly.
They're putting like abandoned steel mill on the right. We got to put something on here, guys. Like, there's potholes. I don't know. Like, it could have been that, but they've got so many good things that they were able to incorporate into this that it's actually quite impressive.
Yeah, it really is.
It's definitely a positive thing for the area.
We've got so many good things in Granite City that we're fighting
Right.
because
how many we
they
have.
didn't all get to
Right.
be on this board.
Right.
My family, not my in-home family, but my children, my grown son with his family actually played the game until 1 o'clock in the morning yesterday.
Wow.
That's cool. Monopoly always turns out like evil in my house.
Yeah.
Like people get mad.
Oh yeah.
Like, listen, we're gonna get lawyers involved. This is it's crazy.
You know, it was an iconic game for my childhood. I'm sure it was for you all too. And I was raised during a time where there, of course, there wasn't cell phones and people spent time with their families. My grandma's house was in Madison. It's where I'm from, on Beckwith Street. Grandma's house was the place to be on the weekends, and all your cousins were there. And we would play Monopoly. And because my grandma knew how this was going to play out, there was going to be a fight. There was going to be stealing. There was going to be cheating. Grandma was always the banker. But what I didn't realize
was Grandma embezzling?
Yes. Yes. And I didn't know she had favorite grandchildren until
wow.
much later in life.
Slipping
Every
them some
grandparent
interest-free.
does have a favorite child.
That's awesome.
I'm just fortunate that my favorite children, I have a favorite daughter and a favorite son.
Oh, that's too
Yeah.
that's too easy, Chuck. How many grandchildren? You have two girls, right?
I have 2 girls.
2 grand girls.
Yep. That's something that happened this week, and also I got to spend time with my granddaughter Caitlin. So that was
cool.
very nice. Yeah.
Well, I know your granddaughters as far as Facebook and seeing their pictures.
Sure.
And I've seen them with Shelby, and they are adorable. But do you know of anybody that actually sat and played the game?
I don't. I know that I just saw that it sold out like crazy, like it was toilet paper during the pandemic.
It did.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
I had a little fun thing that happened today. I was scrolling Facebook and I came across the dairy bar.
Mhm.
Now, for my whole life, it's always been the dairy bar. Now it's Lisa's Dairy Bar. Okay, I'm good with that.
Mhm.
Change is good, whatever.
Mhm.
So I have a spot for that. Mr. Twist. You cannot be from Granite City and not know about
Oh,
Mr.
no,
Twist,
yeah.
right? And for me, I'm from Madison and they are too. So I've never not known the
Mhm.
Eurocities. And then there's Weather Vane.
Yep.
You know, I come from a divorced family. So my mom was Mr. Twist and my dad was Weather Vane.
We were always Mr.
I was
Twist
about to
house.
say, how do you relate Weather Vane with divorce? But okay,
Oh.
you now I
You ruined people's stuff all around. Good job.
Is that
Therapy
in the-
sessions.
Is that in the legal documents? Okay, you get Weather Vane, you get Mr.
Right.
Twist.
And I better not catch you at the
That's
other one.
right.
Yeah.
But it's funny though, because if you have a row full of people in Granite and you say, "What's your favorite ice cream place?" Everyone has their
Oh, they
preference.
do.
Oh, there's going to be a fight.
Right.
Yeah.
So
There
today
is.
I saw on Facebook, Lisa's Dairy Bar had made a post and said they just found out that they had made the board, and they were
Nice.
and they called it a blessing, which got me right
Mhm.
there,
Yeah.
right? And unfortunately, they weren't able to get one. And if anybody had a spare, they were looking for it. So I thought about it.
1999.
And there is one of their ice creams. It's named after Roy Boyer. He's a pastor of Harvest
Yeah, I know,
Church.
right? Yeah.
And I have spent a lot of time with Roy on Wednesday nights at Music in the Park. And there's a lot of times after music, he stops there on his way home and he has his own concoction of an ice cream. And they actually call it Brother Boyer's ice cream.
Oh, nice.
And it's very good. So when I saw that come down today, I immediately posted back to her, I will trade you for one Roy Boyer special
Kim's making deals over here.
Yeah.
Jeez.
for the game. And immediately she answered, absolutely. I'm like, Dill, bring you the game today. I'll collect on the ice cream at another date. But I thought that was just so funny. And it played right along with the trading and the buying and the
Yeah,
selling
yeah.
and just another fun memory that happened that brought in a fun memory that I'll always have about Roy. There's just been nothing negative for me
Mhm.
about this game.
Yeah.
In fact, there's been so much hype about it, and I love Horseshoe Lake.
Mhm.
There is some of the most beautiful sunrises and sunsets out there.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, I am totally involved with the eagles that have nested and the resiliency of them.
Mhm.
They lost their nest
Yeah.
a year ago
Mhm.
and they rebuilt. They have rebuilt their nest a little further away from the highway, so you can't
We
really
have- we
see.
have some
You gotta
babies
go
now, don't
find
we?
it. We only have one.
We only have one baby.
And I have not actually went out there myself because I don't want to know where it's at, so that I can't tell anybody where it's at. It's just a little roadblock for me, because this lady that takes excellent pictures and shares them to us has asked people to stay away.
That's the best thing to do. Yeah.
Absolutely. And she does believe that there was probably 2 eggs, but we only got 1 eaglet. And each picture that she sends, our new video, his head just keeps getting bigger and bigger up the
Oh,
side.
nice.
That's awesome.
And there's another nest out there, an abandoned nest that owls have moved into. So for me, I love that. I love the Chain of Rocks Bridge.
Mhm.
Anybody that's been out on that bridge knows that is a peaceful, beautiful place. Of course, it belonged there.
Yep.
And our high school, I can't even get started on it. The
Mhm.
homecoming parade, everything that's on there belongs on there. Now, there's many more too, but what's on there belongs on there.
Well, and maybe if they make another edition of the game later on, then they'll put other things on there. Because obviously, like I said, they Googled and ran out of stuff. Because I know, like Mr. Twist, if you Google Granite, it's on there. So,
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
so they had to make a decision.
Right.
Um,
And the man that I was talking to did say that part of their research, and you had mentioned it also, was they did join local Facebook groups.
Mhm.
They also went to businesses' Facebooks. And that's kind of how they came up with things. Now,
Right.
did they go to every single one in Granite? Probably not.
Mm-mm.
They
Well,
probably knew
the-
exactly how many spots
again,
they had.
It's all time dependent too. And I remember one of the interviews said that sometimes they will reach out to some of the employees at the local Walmarts or Walgreens.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He mentioned that
Um,
too.
Again, time dependent, and also it's biased, because depending on who you're talking to, they might really love Lisa's Dairy Bar, and
Mhm.
I would have said Mr. Twist, like that's
I would have said Mr. Twist
yeah.
without hesitation because of the tie-in to Route 66,
Yep.
Mhm.
because she's in my ward, because
Biased.
I've known her family my
It depends who you
entire
talk to.
life. Yeah, I would have chose them too.
Yeah.
But does that take away anything
No.
from Weather Vane? No. Does
No.
it take anything away from
And that's
Lisa's
that's the
Dairy Bar
beauty
that
of
made
having
it?
all of these different varieties of places that we can go to, though.
Now, there was a sector of people that were extremely butthurt, and that's the only way to say it. It turned to anger, and it turned to anger quickly. And it was another one of those moments where we could have shined. We could have come together. It should have been a proud moment for our mayor. When you think of a mayoral term, a lot of things happen in those 4 years, regardless of if you get another term or not. But you're proud. You have to be proud to be a mayor, or you wouldn't have done it. You wouldn't. Your heart's there. I don't care what your political views are. There is something about you that made you want to be the leader of this city.
Certainly not for the money.
Absolutely. And during those 4 years, there's not a whole lot of opportunities to get excited over something silly,
Right.
something out of your control, something that just fell in your lap. And this was the second time that I was aware of that situation to
Mhm.
happen. And it's a very sad situation. There is absolutely, you can't open any Facebook page, group, go to any place that doesn't know Brenda.
Mhm.
And I don't care about your views on her. There are some facts you cannot get away from on this board. And
Mhm.
I'm going to talk about them. I'm going to talk about them because she is an employee of the city.
Mhm.
I'm going to talk about them because she's my friend. I'm going to talk about them because I'm proud of the things that she has brought into Granite City. I am proud of the things that are on there. So we're going to start with the name itself. Granite City Opoly. We all see that. I don't know how many read the little blue ribbon across the bottom of that, but it says a fun game celebrating where art and industry meet.
Wonder where that came from.
Where art and industry meet. Well, she was on the city council for a few terms, and during that time, a lot of things happened. And she was Ward 1. She was downtown committee, and that was coined. And it's on a lot of things. It's an iconic phrase. It's there. Now, have we used it a lot in the last few years? Not necessarily. We changed even our marketing from the downtown to the district, but this always still seems to pop up. And proof positive is that an outside company found the where art and industry meet.
Yeah.
The cinema that's on there. Man, I am so proud of that cinema. From day one, that we got to have a cinema city owned in this city. This city has so much. A community college, a hospital, whether it was in its heydays or what your views are on that. We have a hospital. We have our own cinema. That cinema was spearheaded and came together, and almost every aspect that you physically see in that cinema is Brenda Whitaker. And if you don't believe that, just go to the archives of the newspaper through the library, and you're going to see she's in every single picture. Can't get away from that. The Garden Gate Tea Room, it earned its spot. It's going on its 24th, I believe, 24th year. Is that about right?
Sounds like a well-managed business to me.
You would think so, right? It's had 2 locations. It's withstood the time, the test. It's there. It's not going anywhere. It belonged there. And they must have thought so too. Not every city has community theater, at least not their very own. Now, Granite City's been pretty lucky in that aspect. I'm sure I'm going to miss one, but my childhood and early adulthood, it was Summer Stage. Did Summer Stage change to another name, or was it always Summer Stage?
So my history on this is a little muddy, but let me
It's years ago.
Okay, well, I believe it started out as Maskers. Years ago, it started as a group called Maskers. Maskers then split into 2 different groups, Summer Stage and Showtime Express. From my understanding, again, don't hold me to this. Other people can answer this much better, but Showtime Express, from what I understood, was going to try and take the professional route and, kind of pay participants, actors, things like that. I never got paid for any show I was in with them, so I'll just say that. I did perform with both groups. Then Summer Stage was more focused on the community aspect of things. And, Beverly Scroggins has been on the show before, and I think she did a fantastic job along with Marge Pinnell, in running Summer Stage.
Those are some golden names you just spoke.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I think that, let me take these off because they're blinding everybody, including me. Okay, so Summer Stage carried on for a while, and then some of the members, and this is from experience, so this I do know as a fact.
Okay.
Right? Some of the people from Summer Stage or from Showtime Express kind of moved back into Summer Stage because Showtime Express apparently didn't, wasn't everything it was supposed to have been. Okay. And with everything, there's infighting on both groups, right? And there's divas and, just all kinds of stuff going on.
The whole Hollywood thing.
Right. But then I think, I do think that Summer Stage still does productions.
Oh, wow.
Not a full schedule, because was it last year that I was in, what was it? Dearly Departed. It was a Summer Stage. Yeah, it was a Summer Stage production, but they did their performance at the First United Presbyterian.
Right.
Okay, so we did that. Summer Stage used to have its own theater as well,
which was in a church.
Right. It was in a church over on Pershing.
Right.
So then they moved out to where the depot used to be at, and they would do their shows there. I don't necessarily know that Showtime ever had their actual spot. I know that they kind of moved around different places and that, but I think they did a majority of their stuff at the Eagles here in town.
So we have a deep, rich history and community theater.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then we have
And
Alfresco, of course.
Now we have Alfresco, and Alfresco has put out some award-winning productions.
Well,
Arts
and-
for Life was actually at their this past show that they did.
And let's just be honest. You know, did Edwardsville have one of these games?
I have not seen it.
Okay, but if they did, would you not expect something like the Wildly Theater to be on it?
Yes.
Like what to be on it?
The Wildly Theater.
Wildly Theater? Oh, yeah. 100%.
Would you not? I mean, because that's a performing arts center, and,
Right.
and that's very popular, and they're constantly doing shows. I mean, I think it showcases what the city has. I mean, if I were going to showcase the city for a prospective person that wanted to come here, to move here, what's Granite City got? I heard it's a stinky steel mill. It would be Wilson Park, performing arts. It would be the immense amount of businesses, too many to list, that we have here, and the amenities that the city offers. Like, wouldn't you want something like that to be on there? You know?
Yeah. I'm happy with everything that's on there. Of course, I would love more, but I'm happy with their choices.
Facebook user did say yes, Edwardsville did have one. And earlier somebody said, did they advertise the game? And yes, Walmart advertised it on their page. In fact, a couple times, I think.
Did they?
And they had employees standing in front of the end cap that had all the games on it.
I did
Oh,
see that.
well,
Okay, that's the post that I saw. That
Yeah.
immediately I was like, oh, I'm on my way.
That was
to
advertising
Walmart.
it once they already received it, though. They didn't advertise it like, "Hey, Granite City, we're getting this
No,
Granite City Appley
Yeah.
board." Like
was
nobody knew it was coming.
they
Right.
opened the floodgates with that one post
Yeah.
that they did, and then the next post that they did was, you know, it was all gone.
Yeah,
It's like, oh,
Pretty
you
much.
missed out. Sorry.
It was a lot of fun. I took JJ's barbecue
Mhm.
Monopoly. The only one I haven't delivered yet, and I don't care that they even already might have one, is I have one for Dukes.
Okay, yeah.
They're in my ward. They've been here forever. They're Granite City people, even though their original bakery is in, I want to say
Alton.
Alton, but I wasn't for sure if it might have been
It's Alton,
Wood River. Okay.
I believe.
So for her to have the spots that she has on there, I think they're well deserved. Was it a luck? Probably.
Well, listen, and if they're doing a Google search, those things are pretty high up in the Google search ranking when you look at Granite City.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And I'm proud of her.
And,
And
just the
that's-
amount of businesses that she has in Granite City, I mean, the chances of, one of her businesses getting on there
Exactly.
is going to be high because she has multiple. So,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah. And right now, if you're a business owner and you say you're not struggling, you are fortunate. If you really are not struggling right now, post pandemic, in the food industry alone,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
you are blessed. You're
Well, and
fortunate.
hey, listen, don't lie about it. Those numbers are public.
Absolutely. We collect sales tax on that, Jack.
Mhm. And that's public
You know,
information.
so I'm proud that she has been able to stick in there and hold strong without a single entity, contrary to anybody's belief, she received no TIF money. She was approved for it. She did not receive it. That's truthful and that's factual,
It's also public record.
and it's public record. Now, was there some businesses that got some money? Yeah, but we're not going to talk about them right now. So that's all I have to say about the game. I'm in love with it. I can't wait to actually play it. And I am in a situation I have one game that is mine, and I don't know if I want to open it. I want to play it very much, but I'm not sure I want to open it. But you know what would be really cool is if we got the people off of this board and got them in a tournament.
Oh, now that would be epic.
Oh
that
my
would be
gosh,
fun.
right?
Love it.
And we can
That'd
make
be
it a
fun.
potluck. Come bring your stuff. Come on.
Yes. JJ, get that barbecue
Yes.
ready, bro.
That's right.
He's got the most weight on his shoulders there. Come on.
And maybe
Ben.
in the metro could set up extra cameras. And
That's
we could,
right.
Would that not
broadcast it.
Listen.
be fun?
I'm willing to host that just for the benefit
Okay,
of the
well,
potluck.
let's throw that out there then. Dukes, Ben, bring the cream horns. We know you're
Yes.
famous for them.
Yes.
Lisa needs to bring the ice
we know what
cream.
you got going on over there.
Yeah.
So if
Jerry's
you-
Cafeteria. Let's hear.
Oh,
Let's
Tim says let's do that on Thursday. Of course, they got to benefit from it, right?
Right. Hey,
Hockey
you guys are already getting the benefit
Yeah.
of being here when the
they're
businesses
open.
are open and they're serving food. So come on, man, let us in on this, right?
And he said earlier in the comments that he used to call it Mrs. Twist all the time. So you're not even eligible. You didn't even know the name.
Oh,
Yeah.
we know that Mary was
Depending
twist.
Oh, yeah.
on generation too, it's not Mr. Twist, it's Eurocities.
Curiosity.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I heard older people growing up calling it Eurocities, and I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
Mr.
probably
Twist.
fit into that. I also had went from Mr. Twist ice cream to Eurocities barbecue. Did most people even remember that?
that was
He's
her-
got the sign
that
back
was-
up now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was Felicia's dad. I think
Yeah.
that was Mary's husband who
Right,
did the barbecue.
Felix.
Yeah.
He actually had a business, standalone barbecue business out on the corner of Pontoon Road and Morrow. And I moved with my family as a 6th grader from Madison to Granite, and we moved on Venice Avenue, which was just 2 blocks over. And I got to know the Eurocities in a different way. I already knew them from Madison. I knew Felicia and I are the same age, ran in the same kind of circles, but it was the barbecue place that I got to know her brothers and became such dearly connected to Mike.
Very cool people. Because
Very.
Oh yeah.
So when my daughter was born, I lived literally across the street from Mr. Twist. And so, go over there every once in a while to get ice cream. And it was funny because she knew that my daughter's been born, Felicia did. And so like when I came over, she actually just gave me like a celebratory cone.
Oh,
And I mean, it's cool, because it again has that small town feel to it and just that community feel
yes.
to it, and that was
Did
just
you
something,
take Shelby there for like her first outing ice cream cone? Did you do all of that?
I can't remember, to be honest with you. I don't, probably since, we
you
lived,
didn't, you're
even
a
when we
bad
moved
dad.
from that place. we moved
Yeah. Are you
one street
even
over.
Granite City?
Am I even gra-
Listen, if you took her to Dairy Queen first, you're a bad dad.
Here's a funny thing. So let me say something about that real quick. I was actually thinking about that over the weekend, right? I'm just thinking about the businesses and small businesses and things
Mhm.
like that. And while I'm not promoting, any corporations or anything like that, if you think about it, Dairy Queen is actually a franchise.
It is. Yeah.
And so that means that there's still
The Steen
family
family.
invested.
Yep.
I was gonna say,
You know?
I think
Yeah.
the owner of our Dairy Queen here in Granite is
Robbie.
Granite City.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he lives in Granite anymore, but
Yeah. I'm not sure.
But
But
he's made a significant investment,
He-
and his dad
yeah.
made that investment
Right.
in that building.
And
there.
Yeah.
listen, he does a
Yeah.
lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
good, a lot of good. The
Yeah.
franchises people kind of get a little wonky with,
Yeah.
but look at Pizza World.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
They are everywhere now.
Mhm.
We are so fortunate. Again, Granite City,
at one
where-
point they were worldwide.
it's there, and
Yeah.
and as the Facebook has let us know, we are getting a scooters.
Yes. We are.
I don't know much about them.
Well, I got to stop on that for a second, because every time we get like a duplicate of something like another coffee place, there was like, oh, that's all we need is another coffee place. Listen, I just want to listen. I no ill will against you folks, but the more business that is here paying taxes and generating business in this town,
Yeah.
just let it be.
Yeah,
I don't care if we
that's-
have another 5 chicken places.
That's
bring them
more-
on.
Bring them on.
That's
You know what? That's more.
cluck.
Exactly.
That's
I
more
can have
jobs,
Popeyes. I
too.
can have KFC. I can have this place. That I don't
Yeah.
care.
As the
It's
owner
another
of
option.
this complex will tell you, and it's something she says all the time. There's 27,000 people in Granite City, not 33 as some would think. There's 27,000 people in Granite City, and they all can't fit in one place.
Exactly.
I think there's enough room for another chicken joint and another cup of coffee.
That's right. I love the choice that we have of different restaurants in the city. I really do. And I think there could be more. Absolutely. And I would not be opposed to another chicken place
Listen,
coming in.
Hello, Si Senor. Welcome back.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes.
We just went there last weekend. Yeah.
Welcome home.
Yeah. I would just say, like, listen, it doesn't matter. Another coffee place, bring it on. That's more business for the city. The last thing we want to see is businesses moving out. We want to see these people take these ventures, and scooters
Right.
is a big thing. Scooters is not just a little
I
mom and
wish
pop
I
operation.
knew something about them. Have any of you been to Scooters?
The only thing
You
I know
have.
them for is their tiny buildings.
Yes.
They're
Scooters?
so small.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're more of a drive-through though, aren't
Yeah.
they?
Yes.
Well,
And
they
that's
almost
fine.
have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody said scoot on
There's
around.
room for like 2 people in there. so.
Somebody said scoot on around, and then somebody else said we want Canes, and I agree with that. Canes
Oh,
is freaking amazing.
Canes
is pretty
is
good, yeah.
delicious.
Right.
Yes.
Man,
Cane's
I
is
don't
awesome.
like canes.
Yeah, well, get out.
I did.
Yeah, it's really been nice having you tonight.
I like Chick-fil-A and
I do too, but-
Wendy's. Wendy's is my. I love Wendy's.
Yeah.
We
We've
used to
had a
have a
Wendy's.
Wendy's a long
wish they would've
time
come
ago.
back.
Well, we've had 3 Popeyes here also.
We have.
Popeyes
That's
has
true.
been here 3 times.
Wait a minute,
That's
I didn't
true.
know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the hibachi place on Madison Avenue
Which
was
was
Popeyes.
Whenever I was little,
right.
that's
I
where it
knew that
was.
when
Yeah.
the Britics owned it.
Mhm.
But
We had a
we're-
Church's Chicken at one point in time, way
Yeah,
before
which
we
is
had
Lamb's
the
Garden
Lamb's
now.
Garden was a
Yep.
Church's Chicken, way back in the day.
I didn't know that.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, I forget where the original Popeyes was at, but I want to say it was somewhere in the Uptown area.
I think so. Yeah.
Again, that was before my time in Granite City, but I remember back when everyone was really excited about Popeyes coming to town, and I was just like, "You people have had Popeyes here twice, and they've had to close because you wouldn't shop there."
Somebody
It was
said
a different.
Whataburger
It was
too.
a different
Yeah.
Oh
Was it
generation.
yes,
Whataburger?
bring that on.
Yeah, I'll take a Whataburger.
But when they say that about what you just said, you didn't support them. We could talk about Starbucks.
Mhm.
Okay, Starbucks was here and they left,
Mhm.
and the consensus is, and when you hear people talking, is we didn't support them. And
That's
they
not
left.
true at all.
Tell us
Right,
why that's not
100%
true.
So-
Bill.
true. But go ahead. Yeah.
During the financial crisis, Starbucks made a corporate decision to close 600. It was either 600 or 800. I'd have to go back and look again, but I've already looked this up before. But it was either 600 or 800 of their corporate stores that were low performing. Now we are a smaller end community. It wasn't that this location here was not profitable, because you can go look at their records and see
That's
that
right.
they were making profit. It is confirmable very easily. But they made a decision to close the store. The same thing goes for Lowe's. It wasn't like they put a Lowe's in here and Lowe's was like, "Oh crap, they're not buying anything."
Well, it's the same thing
Exactly.
with Quick Trip. We're lucky that
Yeah.
we have 2 Quick Trips
Yes.
in Granite City
Mhm.
because
Well, and people lump all that stuff into. They're like, "Oh, well, look, Shop and Save closed." Well, listen, Shop and Save closed and sold out to Schnucks, and they're all gone
Yeah.
everywhere. And Kmart went out of business too. So before that comes out here, well, can't even keep a Kmart. Well, nobody can keep a Kmart. They can't keep themselves.
I did love Kmart.
didn't
That-
Kmart get
I
bought
wish-
out by like Sears.
Sears.
No,
Which,
Kmart
or Ellen
acquired.
DeGeneres
No,
bought.
Was it the other way
Kmart
around?
Kmart acquired Sears,
Okay.
formed Sears Holding, and then their CEO Eddie Lampert drove it in the ground. But
Oh,
that's a whole
okay.
other story. But yeah, no. So none of those bigger businesses that have left the city were
Wasn't
because
because they weren't supporting.
no. In fact, the only businesses that I know have left the city that were probably because they weren't supported were more mom and pop things.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I would have to. I see your point, and I'm not completely disagreeing with you.
well, you don't have to
but-
because the numbers prove me right.
Yeah. So some of the things that I heard, back in the day was that because the businesses were not they
Mhm.
weren't being made profitable. And this is back in the 90s, like, mid to late 90s, is when I was hearing these things. Now, did I have any kind of tie into the government? Absolutely not. I don't even now, but, what I have heard in the past is that, that they weren't supported the larger businesses or whatever, or they weren't being profitable, so that may be, accurate about what you're saying
Listen,
about,
we have 2 Jack in the Boxes in town. We have a Burger King that has rebuilt their location. Burger King's doing horrible, by the way, but we've
They are.
got all these fast food, 2 McDonald's.
We have-
These businesses are supported. Starbucks
I
was
guess that's
constantly busy. You can go back and because there were a bunch of people. It happened when Shop and Save closed down. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, the town can't keep nothing. We suck. Why do we
Yeah.
need this?" And so I'm a jerk, and I go and I can look up all this publicly available.
And that's what I
information.
love about you.
It-
You
it-
don't fight back
No.
with speculation.
No,
You
because I
Google,
want to know. I'm
you
like,
look,
maybe
you research,
yeah.
and then you fight with facts.
Well, that's the thing. Absolutely, because that's all public information. Like I can go look at what Starbucks made in this location. That's publicly available information, and it's just not true. They didn't leave because they weren't making money. They left because the company's like, "Oh, we better tighten the budget so I can buy another yacht when the end of the year comes along."
So
That's how
let me
that
ask you this question. And if they
Mhm.
say, okay, we need to tighten the budget, why
Yep.
would you get rid of a profitable store or
The
one that's
least
being-
profitable store. Same thing with Lowe's. Lowe's here was making profit,
Yeah.
but if this store over here is a $40 million a year store, and this over here is only a $5 million a year store, well, why would I jack with that? I just focus on the $40 million a year store and pump more
Yeah.
resources to it. It happens all the time. Otherwise, why would you close a giant big box store that you've put all of that money into? Like you have an established route. You've driven the mom and pop hardware stores almost to bankruptcy.
Mhm.
Why would you pull out of that? Well, because of corporate decisions. I mean, it's on their corporate minutes. You can
Yeah.
see why they made the decision. It wasn't like, oh, well, let's just close the stores that aren't making money. That makes sense to me. Like if I got a
Right.
store in this
Yeah.
location over here and this town has gone to absolute trash and I'm barely making ends meet or I'm in the red because of, yeah, close it. Done. Move
Sure,
it.
that makes perfect sense right there.
But these aren't the cases with these. And then people lump that all together, like I said, with the shop and save thing and Kmart's going out of business and these big box retailers or these popular food chains that close these things. And like, oh, well, Granite City can't keep nothing. No, I'm not trying to down anybody, but literally educate yourselves. It's publicly available information. These things are announced. It's and even the people that come out and be like, well, why can't we get a Chick-fil-A here? Guys, go look into what they look for in ROI on placing a new restaurant like that in the areas. You wonder why Edwardsville's got it, because Edwardsville's huge. And that
Yeah.
development over there is like Fairview Heights on steroids. Like, guys, you're not going to put a restaurant here and be like, well, gosh, we hope that people don't complain about another chicken place. That's not how it works. It is not how it works. There's a lot of factors that go into that. And unfortunately, we're not going to get a Chick-fil-A right now. It just doesn't
it's not
happen
gonna
like
happen.
that.
Or a White Castle,
No.
or a Ponderosa.
But we would get
I
a
think
White
White
Castle.
Castle would be more likely, actually.
But I don't see it happening. Not right away.
No.
Not at all.
White
Somebody
Castle-
said
I love
Firehouse
White
Subs.
Castle.
Now, Firehouse Subs may have left, but that was a franchise. That's not corporately
Right.
owned thing. So that's absolutely true. But I would say just do your research before you blindly make a comment and you blight your town with a comment. And let's just say that when you negatively comment on Facebook and you start a uproar of a dumpster fire of a conversation about what this town doesn't do, you're not helping. And if you're like, oh, well, let's, find the solution, we'll be part of that.
Right.
I'm not saying you have to be positive about everything, because there are some things where it's like, hey, can we get on this and can we fix it? Yes.
Right.
But you don't have to be an absolute jerk. And then there are a few individuals that are on these things that it's just nothing but negativity, and they want to see everybody crash and burn. And I think that they rather see the town just become a barren
Right.
wasteland. That doesn't help at all.
Right. And thank you for that segue as we move into the last part of our show tonight. And this part of the show is about a post that I made about debunking and exposing and telling the truth. And we're going to do that here. I have said this many times, and I watched it play out in real time and with proof. There are some people that, in order to get engagement, whether it is a business, it is a group, it is an individual that's just needing attention, whatever that situation may be, you can look at someone's Facebook and just take a scroll down. If it's somebody that is out of control, if it's somebody that just wants to rant, whatever, always negative, take a look at their Facebook and you're going to see something amazing. Just take your thumb and just spin the wheel and land on any normal, regular post. And that person may get 1, 2 likes, may get 1, 2 comments, but you land your finger on one of those posts that are just wildly accusationally filled rants, and you're going to see 170 likes, 155 comments. And why is that? It's a train wreck. There's people that likes train wrecks. It's human nature, I guess. So if you, maybe it's marketing 101, a class that I didn't get, and it's called a train wreck. And if your business isn't doing great, or you're not getting the traffic that you need on your social media, create some drama and trauma. They'll come to it. And how do I know that? Well, let me explain. Over the weekend, there was a little bit of all that happened. And there was also an experiment that was taking place at the same time. Now, our little podcast here, it's, what is it? We're in our 15th, 16th month. We do okay. We're not breaking records, but we're having a lot of fun. But over the weekend, we had a whole bunch of new followers. 62040 got 70 new members. Mom's group up 45. Can't tell you how many likes. Can't tell you how many other people that was in on this experiment can also tell you that their pages went up in numbers. So for those of you that are watching that came here for the train wreck and the cars that it's pulling are debunked and exposed, well, you're getting played. You're being used. You were used here for an experiment. So the next time you're on Facebook and something happens in your community and the craziness happens, keep in mind while you're watching it and you're getting some kind of thrill from it so that you have something to gossip about with your friends off of Facebook, you're being used. You're being used for numbers. For those of you that came here tonight to hear what we were going to say, and now you're disappointed, we would have never changed your mind anyway. So go on. It's all aboard at this point. The train is leaving the track. We'll see you again. Just remember, you can be used unwillingly or knowingly. And going forward, you have been warned. You can be a casualty or you can be the change. Be the engineer.
Yep. Be positive about your community. It's hard to do sometimes. It
I was-
really is.
I was actually curious, and I didn't go. I did go to.
How fast those numbers dropping now, Ben? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was curious. I only went to one other town's Facebook, and I can't remember which one it was, but I was curious if there was so much drama whenever all these other cities got their Monopoly games. Like if they were,
There wasn't. There couldn't have been.
because
You think there was?
I think it's common.
You know, there was a comment somewhere that said, I'm from Texas, and it happened to our city too.
I saw that.
I saw that too. So you know what? So it's human nature. I think I mentioned maybe it's human nature.
Mhm.
You know, I can talk about rainbows and lollipops all day, and you're only going to sit and listen to the sweet shit for so long, right? But if we go in and we start talking about the gal down the street and who's doing this and who's doing her and who's doing that, you will sit all day long as I'm keep feeding you some falsehoods.
Well, and
I want to interject because, I talked about the Starbucks thing earlier and publicly available information. You have to understand with a city, a Freedom of Information Act request will get you whatever you want to see. Okay.
For you.
Yep.
For the shard.
So all you have to do is request the information. Now, if you want to poise yourself as an intelligent individual and you want to actually make a comment, all you have to do is go ask for said information. Did somebody get money? Did somebody get TIF money? Okay, well, I was told that she did, so that must be true. Okay, well, do you really know that, or are you going to make yourself look foolish when you find out that they didn't and you're spreading that they did? All of this information is it's public. What a business has made. I mean, the IRS, you can go get it from there. You can get it from city tax records, how a business is doing. You want to know any of this information. You want to know why Starbucks closed, what their annual revenue was. It's all public information. 100%. And you can get that anytime you want to. So you can hear things from folks like Kim. I could tell you that, this person down the street's making $1 million a week. And you could be like, damn. That person's making $1 million a week. They're raking it in. And you could spread it to 4 other people. And those people could start hating that person because they're not doing their part in whatever it is that they think that they need to be doing, even though, they're an independent business owner. Or you could go verify, because it sounds kind of fishy, that this person is just inherently evil and doing all of these evil things. You could go verify. You could look up historical information. You could see if what information you're being fed is accurate or not. And then you could make an educated comment. Or you could just simply comment, well, they're evil. You suck. Can't believe they're evil. Gosh, let me just endorse that you're a victim and that these people are picking on you.
Man-made victim. I
Well-
mean, that's
Yep.
the route to go.
And we were talking about this though, and I've noticed it on my own personal Facebook page. Whenever I make a positive post, I get a couple likes on it. But if I go on there and I'm ranting about something and I'm angry and I'm ready to riot, everybody's on there, you know, talking about this, talking about that.
Right.
So
And then
People
how
love
many?
crap? Like people love it
yeah.
when
Yeah.
you just get down to it.
Yep.
And if and Kim, I do agree to your point that people are being used.
Used.
You know, to the fact that in order for it is easier to say something negative about somebody else or to have a poor me post to get likes and to build your own self-esteem up. And you see all the likes on your posts if you're trashing somebody else or just making something negative. It's like, oh yeah, people like me. No, they don't.
Mhm.
You know, no, they don't. They're just like, you know, they do not like you when you pull crap like that. What they like is the attention that their comment's going to get or that someone else's comment's going to get. And when you have something that snowballs like that and everybody's looking and everybody sees it, it is the epitome of what social media has become.
Yes.
Social media is not a place to really, it was created as a place for social, you know, connection at, but it's really not. Social media
It's a
has,
weapon at some
it
point.
is. People get 10 foot tall and bulletproof
Mhm.
when they're behind a keyboard. Keyboard warriors, I love that term.
Yep.
Because people will just get out there and they will say whatever they want, you know. And
But
they won't
run
put a
into
name
them at the
behind it
grocery
sometimes.
store. Run into that person at a public event.
Oh, they're going to go down the other aisle at the grocery store. They're going
Or look right in your face and ask you how your day is.
Mhm.
And speaking of what you were talking about, Taylor, you know, you make something, you know, you're having an off day and you're making a negative comment and you get all those interactions. Do you also find that you also get messages
Mhm.
from that one person or two people or four people?
Somebody
like,
that wants
hey,
the
what's
dirty
going
dish.
on?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
yeah, no, slide on back out.
Yeah. And those are the people that want to see you fail.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
here's what I got to say.
But
And
they want to see you fail because they're failing.
absolutely,
Yeah.
That's
Chuck.
why they want to see you fail.
Perfectly.
Misery
Yep.
loves company. It's probably one of the best.
Oh
you
my
know,
gosh. Yeah.
cliched comments out there. They want to see you fail so they can feel better about themselves.
Well, and that's like you don't
Absolutely.
see successful people that are genuinely happy in life going out and demonizing other people
Right.
or even paying attention to other people for that matter. If
Right.
I am up here on my pedestal, I'm not paying attention to what these people over here are
That's
doing.
not your view.
No,
It's some
like
high
I'm
school shit
focused
is
on
what it is.
myself. I'm focused on my business. I'm focused on my family. Like I
Mhm.
don't need to know what you're doing. I don't need your
You
help.
don't have,
I
you
don't
don't have time for that in your head.
exactly because I'm trying to build
Exactly.
myself up.
Well,
So,
and everything that's being built down here is an effort to build this area up into something like the Del Mar Loop.
And
I mean,
it can
and
happen.
well, and it absolutely can happen. And here's my point: like we've had some comments on the stream here, like, you know, where are the people? Okay, well, you don't get the people when you only have 5 businesses.
Right.
You have to build that up. You have to have other businesses that are willing to come in here and have more variety. You got to have variety. If you go down to the Del Mar Loop or you go down to the Central West End, there's a mixing pot of all different types of businesses. You can go around and get what you want from where you want. And people flock to that because there's a nightlife, there's this, there's that, there's food, there's entertainment, there's all these different things. And there's been a concerted effort down here by multiple different
Absolutely.
individuals
yeah.
to bring that to fruition. And the important thing is for anybody that's taken any kind of business is you have to know that in a small business environment, it can't be a train wreck where everybody's trying to cut each other's throat.
Doesn't
Right.
make sense.
It doesn't make sense because
Yep.
I want you to be successful here so that I can be successful here. Because if you close shop tomorrow, that's another point of interest that is not here for
Right.
somebody that might possibly want to come into this town to
Or
look at.
falsely telling as many people as you can possibly reach that another business is closed when they're consistently open. So just for the record, 1400 Complex, also known as everything inside, from the tea room to the podcast to the cinema to the diner to the board gamery to the Crown Factory, Tuesday through Saturday, 2 to 8.
Yeah, I want to address a comment that someone posted on here that I think is important because I kind of agree with it, but there's a little more to it. They basically said it can happen with the right person in charge, and they've got 2 question marks there.
Okay.
So what I want to just kind of point out is that City Hall or the mayor, being the mayor or whatever, I support this man in trying to do what he's doing for the city.
Right.
This is not a one-man show.
No.
Nope.
You know, it's not. And I
And
think
he
that
travels.
he does. I think a lot of people really, you know, put a lot on his shoulders. Now, He's the one that answers for it, unfortunately. Yes. However, you have the entire city hall that's, trying to manage a city and the bitchers that are out there, and, so you have that going on, but it's really not a city hall issue, I don't think, on the whole. This really is it's a community issue. And someone made a comment earlier that, Granite City is a city that comes together when it counts. Absolutely. I agree with that 100%, because you look at New York,
right?
New York, 9/11 happened, the world came together, right? So when tragedy actually strikes and it counts, yes, we're all going to pull together as a family. You're still going to have people out there that are going to do their own thing.
Right.
And
I've experienced that myself.
Right. But the bottom line is, like, when you go on to Facebook and you start siding with one person over the other,
nobody wins.
Saying, this person's in it, just for the money, or this person's in it just for the attention and things like that. The bottom line is, when it comes to the businesses that are being here, none of these businesses, I think, are in it they're in it to provide for themselves. But anyone here in this town that's running a business, or any business that comes to this town, has hundreds of thousands of cities in this country that they could have chose to go to.
Right.
So they've chose to either keep their roots here. Some places have even moved here to run their business and do their business. The bottom line is if you have something trashy to say about a business, go to the business that you support. Okay. If you don't like a business, that's fine. Go to the one that you do like. There's plenty of room here in this town for that. You don't need to tear someone else down. You don't need to tear someone else's business down. The bottom line is, you guys have free will to do what you want, when you want, where you want, and with who you want. It's part of the great part of living in this country. So I really think that if more people took that attitude,
absolutely,
and don't try to win somebody over. Don't say, oh, you shouldn't go over there because they suck. Go to my place. Really, all you have to say is, what I like to do? I like to go over here. These people have really met my needs. I enjoy eating here. I enjoy shopping here. Things like that. You don't have to tear somebody else down, or someone else's business, or someone else's lifestyle, or something like that, to support what you believe in. Support what you believe in, and don't worry about what you don't.
Or if you have a bad experience with that business, give that business owner, any business, it doesn't matter whose business
owner.
Like, listen, I get it. If you get screwed at McDonald's, it's hard to get somebody to do something with that. Like, I understand.
You're going to go back 10,000 more times.
But you go to a local owned business and they didn't give you an item, or they made your food wrong, or something like that. Listen, give that business owner the opportunity to make it right. 99.9% of the time, if you contact them and say, hey, I got these fries that were cold, or, hey, you rung me up for this many items and I only got this many, or whatever that is.
Yeah.
They're going to take care of it. But when you go and you smash them on Facebook, oh man, I went to such and such restaurant and, the lettuce was soggy and it was just terrible. 0 stars, would not recommend. Like, you're literally doing so much damage to a family owned or individual owned business in that post. It's ridiculous.
And I would challenge those people. Mm-hmm. How many what is your ratio, negative to positive reviews?
Yeah,
I would guarantee that with most people, there are the exceptions. Most people, your negative reviews are going to outweigh your positive reviews.
Oh yeah. I mean,
that's the only time most people even write a review is whenever it's negative.
Absolutely. When you talked about the mayor and all the things that he's trying to do, and I mentioned that he's a traveler, and what I meant by that is that he goes to enough places and he does enough things, and he sees that entertainment and food is what people want. We're building a district. And also all of those successful places, like the places you mentioned over in St. Louis, art is involved.
Absolutely.
And art isn't cheap, but it's important. You don't have to understand it. You don't even have to think it's important, but you've got to at least give a chance to see what it can do, just because you don't like it or understand it.
You've got to notice it. So like I said, the U City Loop or the Central West End or different areas like that, if you walk through those between businesses, and maybe this isn't your cup of tea, maybe art is not your thing, that's fine, but they are important. And there's research studies that have been done about open air spaces and walkways and paths and benches and flowing water and art installations that make that more appealing to people coming through. It's just like in retail. They found out years ago that if you play music in the retail store, the person's X% more likely to stay there shopping longer.
Exactly.
If in a mall you have flowing water, you may have seen that back in the day. Like, oh, I went through this mall. It had a fountain in it. Why would they put a fountain in a mall? Because it's relaxing. It's calming. It makes you stay there longer. There are all these little principles that they found out about human psychology that like, hey, this stuff works and it's appealing. It's appealing when it looks good. But at the end of the day, it still takes more than 5 to 10 businesses to get any interest in people coming down here.
Right. And then when you have a marketing company, a group, such as Granite City does, we have Great Rivers and Roots. I think there are some citizens that don't really understand what their job is and what their purpose is. They're not here to market each and individual businesses. They're just not. What they are bringing to us are experiences and opportunities to bring people in. Our Route 66 monument and our mural have brought so many people through this part of
Created a huge buzz.
it has. Now, we already were getting them. And this, believe Felicia even has a book at Mr. Twist. She has had so many people from Germany, from Italy, from Canada that do the Mother Road. And we have 3 veins of it right here that come together. Felicia has probably been ahead of the game on this Route 66 thing. And she's starting to explain that in little pieces. If you get a chance, go to Mr. Twist and ask for a Route 66 passport. You won't be disappointed. Also, something that came from Great Rivers and Roots. What they do is they market ways to bring people to your town. So get ready to be excited or mad, but a neon park is coming.
Yeah, somebody just asked a question about that.
The neon park is coming, and that neon park is coming because Great Rivers and Roots secured a $900 million grant. Did you hear me? $900 million grant. The Pink Elephant in Livingston got 300 of that money. They're putting in a campsite and redoing some of their neat things with their big pieces of art. Granite City got $425 million of that 900. We only paid them $30,000 a year, and we've only had them paid for 1 year. That's a damn good return on your investment. Am I right?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. That's not the only grant that's coming through them. There's a few more that's coming down the pike. And putting in this neon park, the closest one to us is in Springfield. And let me tell you, if you've never been to the neon park in Springfield, Illinois, it's like walking into your hometown because it's all about us. It's the Land of Lincoln Hotel from out on Chain of Rocks Road. It's the Chain of Rocks sign.
Yep.
It's the Bel Air Drive-In. It's all Granite City, and it's sitting in Springfield. So we have some coming ourselves that are unique to this area. So
Nice.
I'm going to finish the show out with this. The district, the downtown. It is, and it will be, the place where the drinks are strong, the music is the universal language, the food is delicious, and the lights are always on. We'll see you next Monday.